Nalinaksh Dutt feels that the story of the recitation of the Sutta Pitaka in the first council was an afterthought. It, however, cannot be denied that there was some discussion about the Dhamma and the Vinaya in the first council, though the rehearsal of the complete Sutta Pitaka or all the sections of the Vinaya Pitaka cannot be accepted as true, unquote. Whereas the council narratives are found in the skandhas of the Vinayas of different schools of Buddhism, the account of the demise of the Buddha, funeral arrangements and background to the holding of the council are given in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, preserved in the Sutra Pitaks of the various schools. On this basis, some scholars have questioned why the council proceedings logically following the Buddha's death and funeral are preserved in a separate text. For instance, talking about the account of the first council given in Chulvag chapter 11, Oldenburg feels that it is not history but pure invention. Andre Barrow also finds it odd that council's primitive version does not give the least description of the canon whose authenticity it is trying to establish. In his view, the recitation of the council of Rajgraha appears to have been inspired by the history of the second council, and that its author wished to justify the authenticity of the canon on the one hand, and in order to support the condemnation of the monks of Vaishali, sanction of which was founded precisely on canonical texts, and on the other hand, in order to prevent all possible future dissidence in giving the community a body of scriptures which held authority. Dalawale Pusa feels that though the episodes of Chan and of Puran, the failings of Anand and the discussion about the Kshudrakas bear the mark of a high antiquity, the account of the Chulvag pertaining to the council and its properly speaking scriptural deliberations is not historic. However, Louis Finot has proposed that the Mahaparinirvana Sutra and the council accounts originally constituted a continuous narrative which was somewhat indiscriminately split into two before insertion into the canon. According to him, Chulvag chapter 11 and Chulvag chapter 12, containing accounts of the first and the second council respectively, have such an abrupt beginning, unlike the other chapters of the Chulvag, that they could not have been originally a part of this work. Like Finot, Erich Frauwallner also suggested that the narrative given in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra can also be found whole or in parts in all the Vinayas extant. Eugene Obermiller corroborates Finot's contention and gives us in detail the contents of the Vinay Kshudrak, which roughly corresponds to the Chulvag, and shows that it not only contains the account of the two councils, but also the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. In view of this evidence, Nalinaksh Dutt takes Finot's contention as sound, namely that the Mahaparinirvana Sutra and at least chapter 11 and not chapter 12 of the Chulvag originally formed one treatise, and in the analogy of the Vinay Kshudrak, it may further be stated that the Mahaparinirvana Sutra formed originally the first portion of chapter 11 of the Chulvag. According to Mukherjee, while the Mahaparinirvana Sutra deals with the materials connected with the Dharma, the Chulvag 11 is concerned with Kritya traditions, and as such, the Mahaparinirvana Sutra will naturally omit traditions that rightfully belong to the category of the Kritya. In his view, according to earliest traceable classification of the Buddhist literature, Dharma and Kritya belonged to mutually exclusive categories. Dharma referred to the sutras, while the Kritya dealt with the collection of Krityas or formal acts. A tradition belonging to one category did not form a part of another category. The Mahaparinirvana Sutra was included in the category of Dharma, while the Chulvag is basically a collection of Krityas. Thus, according to Mukherjee, it may be said that though it is no longer possible to regard the first council as pure fiction, yet its nature and work remain uncertain. So in conclusion, it may be said that this first Buddhist council that took place in Rajgir 3 months after the Mahaparinirvana, the scholars have expressed skepticism about its historicity. That may be going too far. It was historical, all right. However, the notion that the whole of Vinay Pitak and Sut Pitak were recited in this first council, that appears to be a little far-fetched. So this council was historical, but the whole of Vinay Pitak and Sut Pitak were not really recited. Maybe only portions of these two Pitaks were recited, because the different traditions do not really have so much common in them, which could indicate that so much of the Vinaya and the Sut was recited in this first council. Thank you so much.